Think back to the last time you were in a group and knew the answer to a question, but chose to stay quiet. Maybe you used simpler words than usual, or pretended a hobby didn't interest you, all to make sure the people around you stayed comfortable. Most people see this and assume you're just easygoing. They might label you as shy, or think you're simply being polite by letting others take the lead. There's a specific pressure that comes with making your mind fit into a space that's too small. Psychologists call this intellectual camouflage. While the outside looks still, your brain stays in high gear, using constant effort to keep that complex shape hidden. You aren't hiding because you lack confidence. You are using an active strategy to navigate a social world that doesn't quite match the way you think. Imagine your mind as a fast-moving stream of light, processing the world in layers, trying to weave through a field of slow-moving, heavy boulders. That is what it feels like to bring a complex thought into a surface-level conversation. It's exhausting to share a nuanced idea, only to have it stripped of its detail. When people misunderstand your point or simplify it until the meaning is gone, it creates a unique kind of loneliness. After this happens enough times, you learn that staying quiet is often less draining than trying to translate your inner world for people who aren't looking for depth. It is like being a giant living in a house with 5-foot ceilings. To keep from breaking the rafters or upsetting the neighbors, you spend every day hunching over and slouching. This constant slouching is how the mask is built. You create a version of yourself that fits the room, even if that version feels surface level and hollow. This camouflage also comes from a place of high sensitivity. Because you are observant, you can feel the subtle insecurities of the people in the room before they even speak. You've likely noticed that when you show exactly what you're capable of, it can make others feel self-conscious or lead them to start comparing themselves to you. To ease that tension, you might catch yourself making self-deprecating jokes, downplaying your wins, or acting confused by a topic you've already mastered. You are actively prioritizing their comfort over your own truth. You choose to look less capable because you don't want your intelligence to feel like a threat to someone else's ego. Shrinking yourself this way is actually an act of responsibility. You have taken it upon yourself to manage how everyone else feels about their own abilities. Living this way every day has a price that most people never see. Think of your thoughts as dense, complex nodes squeezed through a narrow filter into simple dots for others to digest. This filter takes a heavy toll. You aren't just talking, you're actively censoring your depth to keep the system from overflowing. It's the difference between letting a river flow naturally and trying to hold it back with a single stone dam. The restraint is exhausting. This constant regulation leads to a specific type of burnout. When you spend all day monitoring your words and tone, you eventually run out of the energy needed to simply be yourself. That total depletion you feel after a day of fitting in is the physical evidence of how much work it takes to stay hidden. If you've spent years doing this, you might start to believe that you're fundamentally broken or too much for people to handle. These feelings of isolation are a natural byproduct of a deep mind. They are the price paid for seeing the world in layers that others might miss. Healing comes from realizing you don't need to change your mind to fit the house. Instead, you can look for a room where the ceilings are high enough for you to stand up straight. There is a unique relief in finding people who don't need you to translate yourself. In the right room, you can set down the heavy mask and finally breathe in the light. Your brilliance isn't something you need to apologize for or hide. You can choose to stop shrinking and start seeking out the connections that actually meet your depth. Understanding the way your mind works is the first step toward a different kind of life, one where you no longer have to work so hard just to act average.